what's happening, Trojan family? Welcome to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB Network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. Practice just wrapped up on Tuesday, game week, Iowa week. I am in the Dyrud Dojo. You know, this has become my new spot on practice, I think. We'll just keep this thing rolling from the confines of my car in the beautiful Downey parking structure. I am literally looking through the two buildings at the USC Trojans new sports athletic facility being built. Guys, it's going to be amazing. If you haven't been to campus to see it or seen photos that we've published or any other out there, it's going to be amazing. I mean, it is going to be a absolutely stunning facility with all the bells and whistles, everything you need. I'm hopefully they have like a nice media room for us to use. That's kind of the next rendition that I haven't seen yet, but I feel like they may have that in the works. That'd be great. Then I can do this from there. Then I can just be after practice in the actual sports facility. But want to give you guys a quick update from practice. Again, not a ton as we don't see any of the practice. It's just the post-game interviews. We spoke to Coach Lincoln Riley. Obviously, every Tuesday we do. Jaden Mayava, King Miller, Alani Noah, Lake McCree, and Tobias Raymond. We're kind of the slot of guys we're able to speak with. So quick little update for you. Nothing groundbreaking. But the big thing I took away from Lincoln Riley's time was talking about Carlon Jones, the redshirt freshman defensive tackle. Didn't obviously see him at all last year. He was actually my sleeper this season on defense to be an impact player. He's slowly working more into that. Had double-digit snaps last week against Northwestern, and Coach Riley was asked about that, and basically, quote, yeah, he's trending, is what he said, meaning he's continuing to get better, continuing to develop, continuing to earn the trust of this coaching staff, and he's made plays on the limited snaps that he's been given this season. You know, you think back to true freshman Floyd Boucard and how even in limited reps, he always used them to the fullest. Think of that Purdue game where he had like 6 pressures on 12 snaps, something like that. I don't think those are exact numbers, but it was something ridiculous like that. And Carlon Jones is starting to do that. We've seen him in run stuff, just being physical at the point of attack. He's got a Big Ten body that will continue to grow upon and continue to develop within this system. So, Coach Riley just said he's been fantastic in practice, continues to earn our trust, continues to earn reps, and we should expect to see him get more and more reps as the weeks go on. Obviously, only 3 regular season games left, but in this Iowa matchup, he could be leaned on heavily. In the Oregon matchup in 2 weeks and against UCLA in 3 weeks, expect Carlon Jones to get more reps. Now, they've seen obviously improvement from, I think Devin Tompkins has been pretty steady all year. We've seen Keyshawn Silver improve. Jakeem Stewart continues to get better and better, the true freshman. Kobe Pepe's gotten limited snaps and done some good things. Floyd Boucard didn't get an update, but I do expect to see him back against Iowa. He was questionable going into that Northwestern game. Practice last week, is expected to practice in full this week in pads, so we could see him back. But Carlon Jones, a big bright spot, kind of forgotten in that last year's class, in the 24 class, just because, when you don't see guys play, you kind of, once they have that true redshirt, obviously there's redshirt guys that play 4 games, but he was a true, did not play last year. So I think a lot of people forgot about his skill set coming out of the state of Texas, that size that he has that can truly be that disruptor in the middle in the Big Ten. So exciting to hear that he continues to develop, and we should see more reps out of him. No one else, real injury designation. Coach Riley said, typical bumps and bruises, but nothing, nothing like in past games where, Floyd Boucard's out 4 weeks. Wayman Jordan, Eli Sanders potentially done for the season. Ja Jarrett had season-ending surgery. None of that this week, so should be pretty healthy going into this big Iowa matchup. He spoke about it on Trojans Live on Monday, but just, talked a little bit about the opportunity ahead and keeping the team grounded, where their feet are and focused. And the players kind of echoed this, which is always good when you, because there's times when a coach will say something and then you get to talk to the players and they say something like a little different. And it was all in unison, like, hey, this really doesn't feel any different than any other week. Not because it's not an important game, but because this is how we prepare and how we treat every game. There's no room for error in college football. You have to treat every game kind of like a play-in game or a playoff game, which right now in this stretch, these are playoff games. So Coach Riley talked about, being grounded, but preparing the way they've been preparing, but also knowing in the back of your mind that this is a really big game. I mean, the college football playoff rankings just came out, which I'm sure we'll talk on more. USC jumps up to 17. Iowa, even in the loss to Oregon, only drops one spot from 20 to 21. So a big top 25 matchup that is only going to help USC more if they can win this game before heading to Eugene for their last road trip. So keeping yourself grounded, not making it too big so that you're overthinking things, but also preparing that, knowing that this is essentially a playoff game. So big things there. They get the extra day. So as rough it was coming off a road game in Lincoln to then have to prepare for a Friday night game for a team off a bye, which the Big Ten did this for like all the West Coast teams, it seems like. I know USC had that. I think Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, plays Friday this week after playing at Iowa, and their opponent, I think, is also coming off a bye. And I can't remember if Washington or UCLA had this as well, but not doing the West Coast teams any favors in terms of that scheduling. But on the flip side now, USC got that extra day of rest to get to prepare for Iowa. And Coach Riley said, it does have a little benefit in that. If the short week is tough, well, now we have an extra day to rest. So on Tuesday's practice, guys are healthier, ready to get back into it instead of having to kind of slow play things just to get your bodies right again after a tough battle in the trenches. So, I think that's bodes well for how this team is preparing. In terms of the players, again, I think I've said this, many have said this, many of you probably see this. I think, these players are coached to talk to the media, which is good. But in doing that, they give us pretty generic answers and whatnot. So nothing like groundbreaking, nothing bad, but nothing like groundbreaking to talk about. Jaden Mayava, who I think is it's amazing, his growth just in his comfort level in talking to the media, I think is really impressive. You could tell even going into this year after starting 3 games, but still just kind of, he's a quieter disposition, a little bit more timid. And so really kind of short answers and always respectful. So nothing like that, but just, short answers and kind of saying the same thing over and over again. And you can tell he's definitely matured in that and feels a lot more comfortable in his skin talking to the media in his leadership role that he is. So it's been fun to see him grow in that regard. But no real big groundbreaking updates on that. Just talked about always wanted to get better. His relationship with Coach Riley, says he's really proud of the relationship they have together, how much they talk, and how important Coach Riley has been in his development, obviously, in what we see now as the starting quarterback for USC. So expected to be a rainy game. Just yesterday, forecast was, okay, rain was just going to be Thursday, Friday, clear on Saturday. Now, all of a sudden, the forecast, you got rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We could have like 6 straight days of rain. So could be a rainy afternoon at the Collie, but this team has already played in ready games at Purdue, at Notre Dame. So shouldn't be anything that they're not used to already doing. We will probably see the offense look a little different because of that, as we'll have to revert a little bit more to the run game, depending how rainy it is and how much of a downpour it is and what kind of a success they can have in the passing game. So the matchup, and we'll get more into preview, the matchup, I think USC versus Iowa leans in USC's favor just for how it matches up. However, a rainy game certainly probably leans on the side of the Iowa Hawkeyes. So there you have it. Short and sweet, quick little update for you. I will be back at practice tomorrow night, Wednesday. We'll talk to Coach Lynn and defensive players, so anything worth noting there. I'll be back in the Dyrud Dojo, bringing that right to you here on the USC LAFB YouTube channel. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Plus, tomorrow night is the Call-In Show back on Wednesday. Tim Prangley, the madman, taking your calls, talking all things USC leading up to this massive Iowa game. Thank you, family, for hanging out with me. And as always, fight on. Hey, Trojan family, thank you so much for hanging out and watching the USC LAFB show. Before you go, let me tell you quickly about our friends over at Sleeper. Go right now, download the Sleeper app. It's the #1 sports app, not just for season-long fantasy, but they've got live pickers, they've got live stat updates, they've got a chat that you can chat with other users, plus the daily pick'em, which is a blast, or daily fantasy, whatever you want to call it. You go and pick 2 to 8 players across any sports. If you're talking USC, go choose Jade Mayav in his next matchup. Pick more or less passing yards, more or less touchdowns. You stack those, and you can win real money. When you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code USCLAFB. You're going to get a match deposit up to $100. Put in $100, you get $100 free to play with from Sleeper. Put in 10, they'll match you that $10. So now you're sitting at 20 to play with. But also right now, for any new users, no deposit required. You get $20 free entry. You can stack both. You can get the $20 for free. Go make a deposit. Use USC LAFB. And now you've got a bunch of free money to play with right there on the Sleeper app. Check it out, Trojan family. And when you do, tell them the guys at the USC LAFB sent you.